4, 3, 2, 1. Pushing this. Hold on.
G'day guys and welcome to Tales from the Undertaker. I am Michael from Ask A Pathfinder, and here with us today again is our ever awesome cast of characters whom I'm sure by now you all know. If you haven't tuned into the show yet, don't worry, you will get to know each and every one of these individuals very soon. And as always, we start our shows with a recap from one of our beloved NPC characters, the Undertaker. Greetings and well met. I am the Undertaker, keeper of the dead, and purveyor of all things grisly and gruesome. Well, our heroes have met their heroes. But you know what they say. Some say that you should never meet your heroes in real life. None statement was so truer than young Khalil, who met with his paramour ingenue, Valentine Van Helsing. Still, I suppose he did manage to walk away from the encounter, which is, I suppose, a step up in his life. But nonetheless, our heroes met with the infamous Helsing Agency, a group of avid, skilled, and malicious undead hunters and warriors. Those who had made their names for themselves through blood and sweat. They decided that they wanted to administer a test to see the worth of the Howland Agency and whether or not they might be able to be of some use in the projects coming forward. Well, while they managed to impress Lady Eve and, in some lesser degree, Ogrim, Valentine was rather scathing and did not, however, sign off on their enrollment into the annals of their allies. So this is where we find our heroes, jaded and somewhat disheartened by their recent failure. What will become of them? Will they ever really get a chance to impress the Helsings, or will they continue on this road to dissuasion? Let's see. All right. That's very depressing. All right. Anyway. All right. So, going straight into it, you guys are currently still in the meeting room at the Black Cauldron. Around you is still the members of the Helsing agents, and you have just been given the news that you will not be asked to participate in the next job that they have. After basically a small moment of trying to figure out why they had done so, the Helsings have basically said that, there will come a time where maybe you guys will, be able to work with us. But for the time being, they give you 1,000 gold pieces each and tell you that to keep trying and keep improving and keeping, whoever you are, and, always fight the good fight. What they then do is they then open the door to the meeting room and they leave, closing the door behind them. I'm going to say, for just so that you guys know, as they do, Geralt sort of walks over to the door and opens it again, and there is no one in the long corridor that lies before you. They seem to have disappeared. You have a few moments in this private booth to maybe talk to one another should you require.
Real quick, hey, will you mute the Facebook tab? Yeah, I gotta mute it. Muted it now. Continue on.
Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you, Eddie.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Eddie tour.
He's in the room with us this time. It's crazy.
Is he? Oh, let him out of the box.
Disturbing. I don't know how I feel.
Run!
We got him chained down.
Ooh, is this broadcast brought to you by Coca-Cola?
No.
No.
I sure hope
Is this
so.
we don't have Coca-Cola in Australia.
What's that?
What?
This is
Pepsi.
This is sponsorship pending. That's what that is. A nice.
You guys play your cards right, Coca-Cola, and you can get featured on Tales from the Undertaker.
Hey.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay. So. So yes, you guys are currently alone in the meeting room. You guys have an opportunity to discuss what had just happened and how you guys feel. I'm actually really interested in finding out how Khalil feels, because he got some rather, mixed messages from his hero.
I mean, Khalil is internally devastated, I guess, in a way. Like, he's a positive kid, but at the same time, he kind of, failed at all the things he's been trying to train for this whole time,
I hope we have all learned something.
Well, I think that we should go back and try to do another go at it. Let's convince them that we're worth it.
They're gone.
Let's convince them.
We literally have no idea where they are.
Don't you know of a way to call the hell thing?
No.
I do not.
Fine.
We'll find them.
Well, strictly speaking, you would write a letter. The letter would then go to, where does it go to? It goes to Seska. No, not Seska. Califas. It goes to Califas, which is the capital city, and it would then be sent to wherever they are abroad.
One day, all of us will train and we'll get stronger, and all together, all of us will show them exactly what we're worth.
Okay.
Yes, the way that we will get stronger is by learning from our mistakes, such as not just blindly attacking anything that pops up as evil.
Hey.
Which amazingly was not me this time. Just gonna put that out there.
Maybe being a little bit more careful and looking into things.
There's a lot of things we could improve on, yeah.
All right, everyone, please gain me a hero point for learning valuable life lesson.
Hey!
Yay!
Look at that. Yeah, it actually happens. That's right. So if you're watching this and you're one of my players, that's how you get hero points. Learn. All right. Okay, so moving right along. I assume you guys want to obviously return to whence you came.
Yes.
All right, so exiting the meeting room, you find yourself in the corridor again, and as you walk down it, that same kind of translucent mist sort of rises up, and soon you find yourself engulfed and then back in the Black Cauldron's main eating area, standing in front of the fireplace with everyone, sort of starting to hustle and bustle. The pretty much the scene that you saw when you first arrived. Lots of people, lots of travelers, they're sort of talking. Again, everyone is armed, so it's not like peasants or farmers that seem to be here. There are actually, mostly adventurers or that kind of type. And as soon as you emerge, Coraline, the young woman who was managing the bar, walks over to you. She still kind of gives whoever ordered the milk a soured look. As she hands you a key attached to a wooden plaque that reads 17. And she says, your room has been paid for. Meal is at 7 in the morning. If you miss it, you're not getting fed.
Thank you. I'm happy you're okay.
Much appreciated.
She sort of raises an eyebrow at you, not quite understanding what you mean, and wanders off.
I'm pretty tired.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna have a few drinks before bed.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
hang out. I just...
As you would.
So, Sumi, we had a stressful day. I think I deserve this.
Yeah.
Enjoy
All right.
yourself, Geralt.
So, Raylan, what are you up to?
I'm gonna go to bed.
All right, Dobby?
Dobby would like to craft
Stuff in here.
one an alchemist fire just in his room.
Yep, you go into the middle of your public room and begin to craft explosives.
Mm-hmm.
What is the world coming to? All right.
Bartender, another round, please.
As Geralt sits at the table, obviously, gets a couple of rounds. Khalil, you're also going to bed?
Yeah,
That's
I'm
what
gonna
you
go to bed.
Okay. Cool. Geralt, as you do so, please roll me a perception check.
Ooh, nat 20.
Nat
Plus
20.
5, so 20.
Out of the corner of your eye, you think you see what appears to be a ghost. And this ghost actually looks very familiar. It looks to be the ghost of, Christine, the sister of Eve, one of the Helsing agents.
Oh. Geralt just kind of watches her. Like, kind of like a, what the heck is she going to do in the hair?
What she, who is what, and, yeah.
That's none of your business. I'm completely under control.
All right. Yeah, she sort of disappears around the corner into one of the other rooms.
All right. Geralt kind of gets up and stumbles over to where she is, where she went into, and is just kind of like, I'm going to check this out. Let's see what's going on here.
All right. You find yourself in what appears to be a small reading room, like a smoke room. It's got like a big chair. It's got like a tiny little fireplace. Got some books on the walls. A small little reading table thing. There is also a book on the table next to what appears to be a small patisserie on a plate. It appears to be some sort of cinnamon bun.
Can I do a perception check?
You see exactly what I just described.
All right. Geralt kind of wanders over very cautiously to the cinnamon bun. He's had a few drinks. Just kind of like, yeah, it's probably time to sober up. That looks pretty delicious. I don't think anyone will miss it. It's probably fine.
All right, you eat the cinnamon bun. It is delicious, cinnamony, and sugary. It kind of tastes like a donut, but it's got like kind of a really soft dough, like, almost like sponge cake.
Hey.
And
Delicious.
there's a tiny little crunch to it too, like where the outside's been caramelized and crisped up.
Well, off to bed then. Geralt goes back to his room.
Okay. Roll a sense motive.
Let's see here. 15.
As you go to leave, you realize that the patisserie was left next to a book.
I should probably go check out that book. That seems like it would be kind of interesting.
As you do so, you find the books is the latest Pathfinder Chronicle. The Pathfinder Chronicles are, of course, a collection of information, rumors, and all of the like from a organization called the Pathfinders. Pathfinders literally pride themselves on going around the place and observing and reporting pretty much everything that happens in the world regarding the history, regarding magic, regarding lore, regarding myth, anything and everything. The Pathfinders have like kind of a little sticky finger into it. And then once they're done, they collect stuff that's relevant to people and hand it out. Similar to what you would imagine a newspaper to be. It is a great source of information and also a great sort of source for secreted information. So like things that people don't want people to know. If you got your hands on a Pathfinder Chronicle, you have a good chance of figuring that stuff out.
Geralt decides to just kind of flip through it and see if there's anything interesting. Not like reading it in depth, but just kind of like going through it and just kind of being like, seeing if there's anything that catches his eye.
Well, in your drunken state, you find it difficult to kind of focus. You find if you sort of read a couple of articles and they seem kind of interesting, probably better to wait till the morning and then, straighten up and have a look through it.
Holding it upside down.
These words are all upside down. How is anyone supposed to read this?
Gibberish!
He throws it into the fire. No, I'm just kidding. No, he doesn't. So he's kind of like...
Becomes a horse and then gallops into the distance.
I think I'm going to read this in the morning. And he kind of takes it and puts it into his pocket.
All right, so the night goes on rather uneventfully. You sleep and everyone kind of has their own dreams. Raylan, you dream of your mighty horse, who has become a full-fledged. You've sort of become a full-fledged keeper of the wilds, and you've sort of you now stand ahead above everyone else, and you look glorious. Dobby, you sort of see yourself in noble attire, and you're wearing like these regal kind of this blue uniform, like almost like a royal military uniform with golden buttons, and you could see that even despite the way you look, everyone seems to be admiring you, and you could see there are like women are doting upon you dressed in ball gowns, constantly asking you to dance around this very lavish ballroom. Geralt, you snore.
I was quite drunk when I was awake. It makes sense.
You also have a dream of standing before the mayor of Seska and him placing a badge of honor onto your shoulders. You're wearing your grandfather's regalia, and you could sort of see, like, in the audience, you see your dad, who, by the way, is still alive. Your dad sort of clapping and walks over to you, places a hand, and he says, "I'm proud of you, son."
Oh, God.
Khalil, your dream, however, comes at a burning building where you are standing in front of it and simply watching this huge fire at what was once your family home. You can see behind you like people, like children. You can't see their faces. You can't see kind of any of their kind of attire or anything like that. And one of them steps forward and tries to speak to you, but you can't hear. It's like it's almost illegible, like white noise instead of words. And you reach out to try and grab them and to try and call them. And as you reach out to grab them, this sort of shadowy hand forms into a small girl's wrist, and you can see a birthmark on the arm, which matches that of your sister. You also see a bracelet. The bracelet bears the mark of a skull with a scroll in its mouth. You then all wake up the next morning. Some of you happy, some of you refreshed, some of you hungover, and of course, some of you with heavy thoughts burdening your mind. You are in the same room when you awaken.
Ah, what a wonderful night that was.
Oh my God, please stop talking so loud.
Looks like you could use some breakfast.
Yeah, yes. Definitely we should get some breakfast. Who's on board for breakfast?
Maybe some extra coffee.
Yes.
Let's get down there. Are you okay, Khalil?
Yeah, we should eat.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So you gather up your belongings and you head downstairs, where there is indeed a hearty feast waiting for you of bacon, eggs, mushrooms, tomato, hash browns, sausages, and a very, very, very large heaping helping of chips. That's right, chips. I live in Australia. They're chips.
Breakfast?
Who eats potato
for-
chips for breakfast?
For
Ridiculous.
breakfast.
Alright.
Right, and yep, you sort of start to tuck in.
Tuck in?
Like,
Tuck in, eat it, begin to commence eating. Yeah.
We're tucking in the
I thought we
chips.
just woke up.
Tucking in the chips.
Okay. Okay. No.
Miss, can I have some French fries rather than these
You're having a feed, all right?
salted, crispy chips?
Is
Ma'am?
the barmaid there?
Yes, she does appear to be there. She appears to be cleaning up the bench side after having cooked and distributed dinner.
wait
I mean
for her.
breakfast.
Say hi. Raylan does.
Who asked her for the milk? I feel like it was either Khalil or Geralt.
Oh, I thought it was Raylan.
I think it was Khalil.
I think it was Khalil.
I feel like it was Khalil.
I think it was Khalil.
Okay.
It was kind of all
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah, she sort of waves back, and she sort of gestures. Would you like something to drink, or
I think you said it first, and then he talked over you, as per normal.
Sure.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah,
That sounds pretty accurate.
Raylan asks her for a chocolate milk.
Mm-hmm. She sort of nods and she sort of starts whipping up a chocolate milk. Geralt, perhaps there's something you'd like to bring to the attention of the group.
No, all I remember was drinking a couple of drinks last night, and the rest is kind of hazy.
Make a perception check.
Fortunately.
Your perception.
14.
All right, you feel into your jacket pocket. You realize you've got some kind of book.
What the hell is this?
That's a book.
Apparently, there's a book in my pocket. I don't know who put it here.
That's a Pathfinder Chronicle. That's an important book.
Oh, wow. I guess someone wanted us to have this.
We should read it.
Where did you find that?
It was just in my jacket just now. Someone must have put it there last night.
Very sneaky.
Yes, they were very
Very
sneaky, apparently. I'm not
Alright.
sure. But it must be
Alright.
important for someone to have left it inside of our pocket, inside of my pockets.
I mean, I feel like that's a highly dangerous place to put it, but
Well,
to each their own. All
Can I
right,
see that
so do you guys
yeah,
want
let's,
to
see what this
check it out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does it say?
All
I'm
right.
illiterate. I
Is
have
there
no
a
idea.
table of contents?
Really?
No.
Is there a table of contents?
There is a table of contents, so you can basically. I'll read out the names of the articles, and you can choose to pick and choose what you want to read. Okay. So, Murder in Rovengro
Ooh.
is the first title. Do you wish to know about it or gloss over?
I'll figure it out after I hear all the titles.
All right. Elves sighted at the borders of Ustalav.
Ooh.
Nighttime audience with Prince Ordard Oranti III.
He sounds hot.
None of us have knowledge local, so we have no idea who that.
That's the Principality of Ustalav has a prince, Principality Prince.
Yes.
Prince Ordard Oranti III. He is the bigwig. He is the man in charge. He is the guy. Carrion Hill rebuilding.
Ooh.
Orcs in the forest. And a help wanted section with one of the jobs circled.
Oh, well, let's read
What's
that.
circled?
What's circled?
What's that? What's that circle?
There's something
Help
circled
wanted.
on the paper.
Look at it, Khalil.
I got it.
Khalil, check it out.
Khalil, look at it.
Look,
Guys,
there's the
did you
thing
eat
circled.
enough?
You
Read
see it, Khalil.
Khalil, read it.
Khalil, please pay attention
Look,
to the
look,
paper.
look. Look.
Oh, there, thank you.
Khalil reads it. Help wanted. Captain Dreyfus, captain of the Royal Guard, has sent word for mercenaries to come to Castle Corvershaw for work. There is real risk involved, requires the utmost commitment, and each attending mercenary will receive a payment of 2,000 gold pieces, 1,000 upon beginning, 2,000 upon completion, and a further 1,000 to next of kin should you lose your life during said quest.
I could get the headband of charisma that I've been saving up for.
Mm.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Let's do it.
That sounds great. Maybe we should read about some of the other
We know where
goings
that-
on.
We know where
to
that
this.
castle
I'm
is.
actually curious about everything.
We met the two people, those two guys, there are three of them, the Twin Peak gods. We actually have an inn. They know us.
Oh, hey.
They went to that castle.
Also, I used to be a guard, so I think it's kind of a shit.
Maybe
Come on.
they don't know that.
Well, I mean, they should.
All right, so I'll go through the articles again. Just tell me if you want to read it. Okay, I'll give you three options. You can read it. That means I'll read the full article. You can gloss over it, which means I'll give you the skinny. Or you could skip it and just, if it's of no interest, there's no point reading it. So the first one is... Oh, sorry, go on.
I
Yeah.
want to skim over that one, and I want to skim over the first one too.
Yeah, that one didn't sound very interesting.
Okay, murder in Ravengro. So you want to skim over that?
Mhm.
Long story short, a couple of people have been found murdered in Ravengro. People suspect that the urban legend serial killer by the name of Dr. D was actually responsible for the murder. There's more stuff, but that's what you gloss over. Elves sighted on the borders of Ustalav.
Ooh.
Let's get it.
Skim it. It's pretty much in the title. The Elves of Conan, which is the elven nation of elvy elves, have basically been sighted around the borders. They don't know what's going on. Maybe it's an invasion. Maybe it's them making a point about something. No one knows. It's that's the gist of that one. Nighttime audience with Prince Ordard Ordranti III. Skim. Mysterious carriage had left Caliphas under the cover of night. Suspected clandestine audience with the prince with an unknown member of the principality. So lots of gossip stuff, mostly. Opera of the Century.
Skip.
Skim. All right. Long story short.
Skip, I think we said.
Oh, skip. Sorry. Okay. Orcs in the Forest.
Read.
Yes, definitely read.
Okay. Orcish raiders have been sighted in a township 3 days travel from Carrion Hill. People have been asked to stay indoors as the orcs themselves seem to be on a ritualistic blood hunt, a trial which is undergone by their young teenagers, which involve basically going around and murdering people. There is a toll guard for adventurers and a general call out. So you guys will receive 200 gold pieces per orc head that are submitted into the toll booths throughout towns in the vicinity, which is near where you are. They also advise that there appears to be a necromancer among their numbers, and to exert extreme caution when dealing with that.
Hmm.
Cool. I think we should bookmark that for later.
That
All right.
sounds like quite the adventure.
Did you say there was something about Carrion Hill?
Yes.
What's happening
Yep.
there?
Carrion Hill rebuilding. Read. Several days ago, Carrion Hill fell victim to an attack from a wandering undead horde. Thanks to the valiant effort of the town's crows and members of the Howland Agency, the crisis was narrowly averted. While many lives were lost in the struggle, the survivors are rebuilding Carrion Hill, stronger than ever, a grateful city rising from the ruins to reclaim their lives. This is CNN. No. Okay, and lastly, we have the other help wanted, which is a wagon carrying supplies for a banquet to be held at Castle Corvishaw has gone missing along the road. The head caterer is offering a substantial reward for the return of the supplies, several rings of sustenance, as well as 500 gold pieces for the safe return of the carriage and all the supplies.
Corvishaw is the way we're going, right?
We are going to Corvishaw.
Keep an eye out for...
I mean, we did just... I guess we're working under the assumption that someone gave him the book, not that he found it. So... yeah, we'll go to the castle.
But I mean, as you can see, this one was circled, and if it was placed inside
Yeah.
of my pocket,
It might be a
I think
trap,
that
is
someone
what you're
wants
saying?
us to go. Oh, you could be correct. This could be a dubious trap.
We will be on alert.
So someone
At
put the
all
book
times.
on you, Geralt?
Yes, I believe so.
It's a pretty sizable
remember,
book.
Do you remember going to bed last night?
but if by going to bed you mean passing out, then yes.
Okay.
Actually, and by yes, I mean no.
I say let's head to castle.
Yeah.
And on the way, if we see anything that strikes interest of this cart, then we'll look for it.
Yes, I believe I think I'm the only one trained in like tracking things, but we can keep an eye out.
Okay. All right, so you finish up breakfast and you begin to head out on the road.
As we're going, Dobby's going to take that alchemist fire that he made yesterday, put it into this pocket that he has that's just stitch on to his pants. That's got like a just like a symbol of a forest burning on it. He sticks it in there and he mutters infernal for explosion, and he pulls out the alchemist fire and it's like glowy and supercharged, and then he puts it away.
Cool.
Oh.
All right. It begins to, you guys actually see this happen as he sort of reaches down to what you know guys have now been able to establish is an explosive device or explosive bottle. And you see it start glowing brighter and brighter. And when it looks like it's literally about to pop, he sort of hums to himself and puts it in his pocket.
Is that okay, Dobby?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Everything's fine.
You hear
All
a...
right.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right. You are now carrying a supercharged, loaded explosive.
Yay.
Oh, Dobby.
I
That
have,
won't go
like,
wrong
5
at
of those
all.
on me.
Okay. So, leaving the Black Cauldron and full bellied and, of course, ready to head over to Castle Corvershaw, you begin to make your way along the road. The rain has begun to pick up once more with a soft drizzle sort of now making the path before you muddy. But the horses find it pretty easy to move through the area without, too much trouble.
Oh, wait. I want to run back inside because I was spaced out, and I want to say goodbye to Coraline. Say thank you.
She sort of looks at you as you run back inside. She's obviously got her cleaning supplies in hand, having just finished cleaning, for breakfast. You're soaking wet, you're covered in mud, and you've trailed this huge pile of sludge onto her floor. She sort of looks at you, and she has this look of almost contempt at you. You kind of get the feeling that you should probably leave.
I'll leave.
And you turn and you leave. As you do, it's always Khalil. Why is it always Khalil? You turn and you leave, and you begin to make your way there. She doesn't hate you, but she thinks that you're like there to kind of you've got to be pulling. Like, I mean, if she was Australian, the word would be you got to be taking the piss. Like there's no. It's like you got to be taking the piss. Sorry, I'm going to mention something right now. I was really freaking out just then because I looked down on my screen because I can actually see Eddie Tor's screen that I can't actually see my players, and he's got Cuphead open on the desktop, and I swear to God, I was like, oh God, I don't want to touch anything in case I accidentally hit Cuphead and all that really kind of high, happy music starts coming on, and then I realized, oh no, it's just Eddie playing Cuphead in the background. I just wanted to share that with everyone in Internet Land. Okay. So yeah, you begin to make your way across the rainy path in front of you when you can start to hear the sound of humming. And in front of you, walking in your direction, is a very familiar figure, tall and basically pulling what appears to be a large cart filled with coffins. You are confronted by a familiar face, as it is the Undertaker you met in Carrion Hill.
Hey, Mr. Undertaker, man.
Ah, it is good to see you again, my friends.
Yes.
How fares your journey so far in this beautiful Ustalavic weather.
It could be better.
It's good.
We've hit some road bumps, but overall it's quite well. We're raking in the dough, so to speak.
Well-
Do you usually leave here?
Well, that is good. That is somewhat good news because I have some excellent news for you as well. You see, I have been paid quite a lucrative amount of money to ensure that you are, how shall we say, taken care of.
Like in a good way.
His fist seems to clench the shovel at his waist as he sort of walks forward. Before it was kind of like implied how tall he was, but as he steps forward, it almost feels like he's like 7 or 8 foot tall. He's not, but it just kind of, you get that kind of like,
Yes.
what the hell do you want? And he reaches into his jacket and he's eyeballing you, like staring at you, and he pulls out a tape measure. I am here to fit you with the finest coffins to ensure that your passage from this life is, well, a comfortable one.
Nice.
Would you mind?
I mean, that's
Would
very
you mind-
thoughtful, I guess.
Who paid
Can
you
you
to?
tell us
to
who paid you to do that?
Oh, well, I were it that I could, my good sirs, but he did not give me his name. But generally speaking, when someone passes me a large bag of gold, I don't ask too many questions.
That's cool.
All right, guys. Assuming we have some kind of audience who are tuning in, welcome, and I hope you are enjoying the show. One of the things we like to do every now and then, if we do have audience members, is to find out whether or not they'd like to contribute by giving me a number between 1 and 51, and I will draw a card from my plot deck of magic and try and weasel something into the story. So, if someone could give me a number between 1 and 51, I will bookmark a card for this plot twist. But in the meantime, we'll continue the conversation. So Yahi, once again, just sort of seems to be eyeballing you, sizing you guys up. Does anyone resist him if he starts measuring you?
No.
Yep, he starts measuring your shoulders, measuring your length. He's a little bit handsy. So like as he gets to like Geralt, he sort of straps around his waist, inner thigh, that kind of thing. Like he's, he's very practical. He's not, not creepy, but it's kind of just you almost feel like a piece of meat, like as he's just sort of shoving you around and doing that.
So,
And he sort of writes some notes down as he's doing it.
Do you have everything in black, or is it like red or anything?
Of course, if you have a color that you prefer, I will ensure that you are buried in it. We have some very nice designs depending on what kind of wood you have. A lot of people like to go with the iron bark, lots of sturdiness, and make sure that you do not come back as, we can also offer. No, we can. You actually have enough for the full package, which involves one of these babies. And he sort of reaches into the wagon and he pulls out what appears to be a stone, like a tombstone. And you sort of look at it; it just looks like a regular tombstone. And he goes, "This is a very special tombstone. If one is buried with this grave marker, they do not come back. They remain dead forever. Even the mightiest resurrections and the vilest necromancy cannot penetrate this the enchantments on this rock. Very expensive, but
Very cool.
all paid in advance."
Okay.
Awesome.
Cool. I guess.
Thank you.
Keep them for us at Carrion Hill. That's where you live, right?
I have a feeling he'll.
Oh,
find us.
I travel very far and very wide, but I have my ways of finding out if you are, well, among the living.
Are there grave tombs that are the size of Geralt? There has to be.
Of course, we have child and halfling sized ones.
You just stopped digging a little earlier.
Look, you're taking care
Wait,
of.
I'm sorry, you said child and halfling size ones? Is that one size or two different sizes?
Oh, yeah, the
Well,
child
we like to
size
tell our halfling patrons that they are in fact two different sizes, but if I'm being honest, they're not.
Okay. Just just for clarification. Thank you very much.
Yes, just
Geralt
on the
gives,
one.
gives
The only
Khalil
difference
a
being
quick punch in the leg.
the only real difference, of course, being that the children ones will often have things like unicorns, teddy bears.
I would prefer that mine's classy. If I can just put that out there, I would not like unicorns.
Yes. So we don't use those ones for the halflings.
Can I just be cremated?
Yes, of course. We offer a wide variety of packages. Here are the several jars. 1, 2, 3, 7. And you can see he's literally just pulling out these canopic jars. And he goes, and here are the halfling ones. And he sort of pulls up these half jars.
That's fine. This is all fine.
Well, none of us are dying. I appreciate your...
we are all
This,
dying,
We're all
Khalil.
dying.
sometime in a long time, hopefully. Thank you. We are going somewhere now, so we will talk to you later.
Yes.
He sort of smiles and says, "Well, thank you for your patronage." And he bows. And he
I have a tip for you,
moves.
though, if you want a joke.
Oh, yes, of course.
Why doesn't the dragon eat on weekends?
Well, I don't know. Why doesn't the dragon eat on weekends?
Because he can only feast on weeknights.
That is
wasn't
a
bad.
good one. That was a good one. Well, in which case, I definitely owe you. And he sort of wiggles his finger, and he continues to walk away, humming his tune, dragging again his cart behind him. Now, as he drags it and walks away, you realize that, this guy's got tombstones, coffins, and all the works in the cart, and he's pulling it by himself and humming.
This is strong.
Can I acknowledge Arcana of the cart? Since Kendra's got railing.
Do you mean you want to detect magic the cart?
Yeah.
He's probably all magical, and you were using a shovel for a while. There's no telling how magical that shovel is.
No, I just tried to pick it up. I had mistaken it for the other shovel.
Yeah, I'll detect
okay.
magic.
You use detect magic on the cart. The cart appears to have no magic on it.
He's just really strong.
Okay.
I guess so.
That's fine.
Alright, to Castle Covershire.
All right, you continue your way. Now, please make me a survival check as you try to march your way through the dirt, the grime, and the muck.
Dobby got a 18 survival check.
18, yep.
Raylan 13.
Geralt 2.
Khalil 7.
All right, Geralt starts to wander off, but very quickly Dobby pulls him back on the trail. He seems to be all right as far as traveling, because obviously you're still following the main road. As you do so, you see what appears to be some sort of massive tree that has been knocked onto the road. Now, it's not blocking your path, but it looks very unnaturally placed. Like, it looks as though something like an accident happened. Like, it wasn't like a natural and then fall. It was a and then slid a certain amount of distance.
Mm-hmm.
Do I see anything?
Right, so it's like a bandit trap.
Not really, because bandit traps would obviously block the road. This, however, doesn't seem to be blocking the road.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm gonna look around, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's inspect.
Okay, make a perception check.
I'm gonna get off my. I'm
Geralt's
assuming
got
we're all riding our horses. I'm gonna get off horse and look around.
Okay.
Raylan 16.
Geralt 9.
What are we doing? A perception? Sure. Perception? Okay,
Yep.
that's a 23.
Dobby got
23?
a 17.
All right, Raylan and Darby, as you both sort of jump off the horses, you actually notice that there appears to be like this splintered wood that is littering the ground. Now, this doesn't seem very peculiar because obviously there's a fallen tree. However, when you look at the wood itself, it is worked wood, as in carpentry. Someone had shaped and sculpted the wood. And there are shards of it, everywhere. Geralt, you find your own feet. They're still attached to you.
Hey, look at that! My feet.
Yes, Geralt.
And
I mean, they're just
Khalil,
still there.
They're very small. Yes.
I'm just
They're very attractive and
thank you.
strong
Dainty.
That's
and dainty.
Childlike.
all right,
Some would say.
Khalil, you find paw prints and drag marks of something very large off the road.
Guys, look,
Oh, let's follow that.
What's that?
marks.
Also, do we have a number for the plot twist?
No.
No.
No number. Oh, that's sad. All right,
23.
23. Oh, we got a number 23. Let's see.
Like it was something.
Okay, sweet as. I got that one. I'll let you guys know what it is momentarily.
Okay.
All right, so again, yes, you see prints, paw prints.
We follow as best as I can track. I'll have Darby. I'll let Darby lead the way.
Large paw prints.
Mm-hmm. Very large paw prints.
Can I try to see if I can ascertain what kind of creature they are?
Knowledge nature to try and determine that.
Is that I don't have knowledge. Oh, I do have
You
knowledge
didn't
nature.
have a 10 in it.
I thought that was
Your nature or a bull is fuck.
yeah. 13.
13. You do not know, but it is definitely mammalian in nature. That's pretty much all you can tell.
Okay.
All right, you begin to follow the tracks, and eventually the tracks seem to disappear and only leave that massive drag mark that you can see, almost as if something massive were being dragged by this thing, and then it's sort of pulling it backwards over its own footprints, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
You continue to follow it for quite some time. I'm talking like maybe 30, 40 minutes of tracking before you finally come to a cave. At this point, the rain seems to let up, and there's kind of this difficult terrain of mud and sludge that seem to be, remaining. You can also see that the cave is somewhat large, and if you hadn't literally followed the trail in the position it was, you would have just thought it was this massive rock. But because obviously you were following the tracks, you sort of came around the rock and you could see the entrance hidden and concealed.
Let's go.
All right. Yes.
Let's check it out.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
All right. Turning into the cave, what you can see before you is, of course, a giant cart turned on its side that seems to be filled with sacks of random things, barrels, crates, chests, and two dead horses.
Oh,
Oh,
I mourn their loss.
One of the horses appears to have been gutted.
Oh, God.
The second horse, however, appears to be lying dead, but there's something very bizarre about it, and you can make me a perception check to try and figure out what. Or try and notice what.
As we come up on the cart, and we're obviously going to try to figure out what's going on here, Dobby's going to down one of his potions. It's heightened awareness.
Okay. Yep. You. And your eyes.
Very nice. Raylan 12.
Geralt 10.
Khalil 9.
Dobby 24.
Hey!
All right. Well, Darby, you notice that the other dead horse is actually turned to stone.
Oh.
Kind of.
Oh, like
weird.
a
that we didn't notice
Basilisk.
that before. But yes, it's turned to stone.
All right.
That's
Darby, you
concerning.
also notice, and you can warn people before it sort of does anything. There is a creature that seems to be moving amidst the the stuff that's there.
There's something in here. Back up.
Just give me 2 seconds.
Is it
while
dark in this
I-
cave?
One moment.
Suck it.
While we're doing that, feeling apprehensive about what might happen, I bless everyone, which means that you get a +1 to attack rolls for 1 minute.
Cool.
Hey.
Thank you.
That's nice for me.
Okay. It hasn't seemed to notice you yet. Does anyone want to jump into hiding or to concealment or anything like that?
I think Raylan would probably just shout out. So that's what she does. Raylan shouts out, "Who's there?"
All right. Emerging from in the midst of the food stuff is a giant creature that appears to be reptilian, has 8 legs, a long tail,
How
and
big?
is about the size of a horse.
Oh shit.
No.
That's not adorable.
Pretty adorable.
Actually, no, it's not that big. Sorry, my mistake. It's about the size of like a Great Dane, basically.
Okay.
Oh.
That's cuter.
Oh, it's so tiny.
Okay.
You could still.
All right.
It
It sort of walks out. You can sort of see it's got like this like smoked ham in its mouth, and it sort of looks at you like well, there's the picture of it there.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of just it sort of eyeballs you. Does anyone do anything as it's eyeballing you?
Guys,
Can we do like a sense motive or anything?
Yeah. Does it appear hostile?
Well, I don't feel
You
like
know
you need
what
to
it
do any
is.
of that. Everyone roll me a fortitude save. I love- By the way, I love that as soon as the picture comes up, everyone who is a fan of Pathfinder is like, oh, shit.
23.
So a fortitude save.
16 for Geralt.
Mm-hmm.
21 for Dobby.
22 for Khalil.
Can I try to identify the basilisk?
You absolutely identify the basilisk. Roll a knowledge arcana, and then roll initiative.
Okay.
17 on the knowledge arcana.
Okay, 17. You get one question you can ask about these things. A basilisk, often called the king of serpents, is in fact not a serpent at all, but an 8-legged reptile with a nasty disposition and the ability to turn creatures into stone with its gaze. Folklore holds that much like the cockatrice, the first basilisk hatched from the egg laid by a snake but was incubated by a rooster. But little in the basilisk's physiology lends any credits to this claim. Basilisks live in any territorial environment from forest to desert, and their hide matches to reflect its surroundings. A desert-dwelling basilisk might be tan or brown, while the ones that live in the forest, much like the one you are looking at, appear to be bright green. Well, this one's kind of more of a dull green. They tend to make their lairs in caves or burrows or other sheltered areas, and these dens are marked by the statues of people and animals in lifelike poses. The petrified remains of those unfortunate enough to stumble across the basilisk. They have the ability to consume creatures that they petrify. Their stomach-churning acid is enough to dissolve even the strongest stones. But the process is slow and makes them inefficient during that time, creating them to be sluggish and lazy.
Okay.
There's more stuff, but that's kind of,
And you said something about a question.
Yes, you get to ask one question pertaining to the basilisk. This can be a mechanical question, such as how many hit points does an average basilisk have? What are their weaknesses? What are their strengths? Etc. Etc. Etc.
Does it have any known weaknesses?
It has no known weaknesses, but I will give you this as kind of a weakness. So when a basilisk gazes at a target and turns them into stone, if they are then coated with the fresh blood of a basilisk, they are then instantly restored to flesh.
Okay.
But must be done within an hour after they were petrified.
Okay.
Sorry, no, my mistake. The basilisk has to be dead for no longer than an hour for that to work.
Okay.
Okay.
Raylan initiative 15.
50?
18 for Geralt.
Dobby's gonna pop his heightened awareness thing to get a +4 bonus to the initiative roll, and he doesn't get heightened awareness anymore.
Okay. Khalil?
4.
I'm ready.
Oh, Khalil.
I'm not ready.
I feel like we should rename this to That's Khalil.
My initiative.
That's Khalil.
Dobby got a 9 on initiative.
After doing that big explosion thing that gives you a
rolled
boost?
2.
Good thing you had that
Oh.
before.
Oh, no. Well, the basilisk doesn't get to go first. We instead start with Geralt, I believe.
Don't look at it in the face.
Yeah, so...
It's looking at me, Ray.
Let me see here.
Can you learn how to blind fight or something?
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking about doing.
Fight it while blind.
All right. So I have a bottle of alcohol, so I'm going to chug that for my turn, and I'm going to use that to
Gain the blind fight feat.
gain the blind fight feat.
All right. Blind fight, for those of you at home, is the ability that when you are fighting with your eyes closed, you get to roll twice on the chance to miss your target. And, well, obviously, if you failed the first time, you can then re-roll it. So, pretty useful. Very useful, especially given that I then assume that Geralt closes his eyes.
Yes.
Excellent.
Still drinking.
Closes his
Still-
eyes. His chart.
Double fisting. All right. Okay, Raylan.
I detect evil.
Trying to
It is not evil.
Dang it, I didn't think so. What kind of action is that?
That is a standard action by most part to cast detect.
So now I can't do shit.
You can move up. You can move up to it. Say hi. Give it a high five. Close your eyes.
I will. Just kind of like hang out and look cool. Like I kind of lean against the wall, like and, kind of like yeah.
All right. Yeah. You gain a +2 sass.
Thanks.
All right. We then have the basilisk. The basilisk did not like Dobby and Khalil for reasons unknown to me. So it's going to use its gaze attack once more. So fortitude saves. From everyone who has their eyes open.
Hey, that's not me.
17 for Dobby.
14 for Khalil.
Ooh.
4.
All right. Well, Kendra, you are the coolest looking statue. So basically, there's this statue doing this.
I'm really glad I got into a good pose.
Yeah, there you go. Khalil, on the other hand, is in a kind of pose.
Aw.
Well, we're 2 down already. That was fast.
And the party's dead.
The basilisk sort of scurries over towards Khalil and sort of grabs him by the foot. Doesn't actually grab him. He's just sort of like nibbling on his foot. Because, like I said, they're the size of a dog. Now, funny fact. Who's got the wand of stone to flesh.
That would be
Oh,
him.
okay.
That would also mean that their wand is now stone.
Crap.
Okay,
I got
moving
stone
right
shape.
along.
I could change his shape.
I highly recommend you don't do that. All right, next up we have Dobby.
Close your eyes.
Yeah, Dobby's gonna close his eyes. And...
Wait. You should attack before you close your eyes.
Well, does that... Would that, like, get around it for, like, just the turn, I'm guessing? Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna make a bomb and throw it at the bastard. Oh! Maybe this would be a good time for a smoke bomb.
Ooh.
Then it would be blind, too. Smoke bomb!
Smoke bomb.
Very well, you throw a smoke bomb.
Does a 16 hit it?
Yep.
Touch AC? Sweet.
Mhm.
It takes 9 fire damage and a smoke cloud comes out.
Okay, smoke cloud comes out. As the smoke fills the area, we then go to Khalil. No, I know. Khalil. So, actually, on Khalil's turn, something actually happens because Dobby laid down a smoke bomb. Eddie, can I have the next picture, please? The one we discussed earlier on. Because that one was rather impromptu. Because thankfully, I had to actually change the plot, the story a little bit, because this was the card that was granted by our ever lovely viewer.
Yeah.
Lucky what?
Lucky day.
Day.
Lucky Day.
Lucky day.
So this is of course your lucky day, as emerging from deeper within the cave, a mammalian creature lunges out, grabs hold of the rushes out, grabs hold of the basilisk by the back of the neck, jerks it really quickly. You hear a sickening snap sound as its spine breaks, and it looks at you angrily. The basilisk is still alive, and it's trying its super hardest to stare at the creature that has it in its mouth, because obviously it can't move its body. But the creature seems to be immune to the effects of the basilisk's stare, which funny story, Dobby, you are aware that for some bizarre reason that is eluded any kind of scientific or arcane kind of research, there are certain creatures such as, one second, such as weasels, mongoose, and other creatures like that who seem to be who would completely ignore the gaze.
Interesting. It's because they're good against reptiles.
Because mammal or reptile?
Very true. And ferrets. Yeah, weasels, ferrets, mongoose are immune to the effects of the basilisk stare.
Interesting. How big is this ferret?
This one is...
And it also seems angry at us?
It's more like, hey, this is mine, go the hell away. This one is actually the size of a horse.
Shit.
Oh.
We need that blood, though.
Yeah. All right.
And as it sort of as it shakes the basilisk about, the blood sprays on Raylan and Khalil.
Yay!
Hey!
have a bloody shower.
Because it's your lucky day. And
Blood shower.
and it sort of drags it in a little bit towards the inside of the cave. Now, it sort of eyeballs you as it begins to feast on the basilisk.
We'll just back away from it. Everyone back away from it and just leave it alone.
It's cool, giant ferret. It's cool.
Just leave it alone.
We're okay now?
I'm glad you're not
Okay.
a statue.
Me too.
I mean, you were in a pretty good pose, so it wouldn't have been too bad.
Yeah, you were looking pretty posed.
Pretty sick.
Thanks, guys.
Did I not look good?
No, you looked horrible.
Um,
You looked really
you guys,
scared.
You guys, we're going to keep the same initiative, but it's up to you to whether or not you want to re-engage or come up with a different plan. The ferret is now in control of the cave and, of course, the supplies.
oh, so it's not gonna let us take the cup. Okay.
He's like blocking the cart.
Yeah, is
What's
he in
that?
the way- Is
Is
it
he,
in the way?
he's in the way of the car?
It would be really
no.
tragic for him if he was sneezing right now.
What were we looking for in the cart exactly? We still have that book. What was it?
What?
That book? What are we looking for with this cart? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I want to investigate the cart if I can.
The cart is filled with food for the banquet.
Oh, it was the food for the banquet.
I don't. Was that?
Maybe?
Can you look in the book and see if that's what we're looking for with the cart?
What did the what was the thing we were looking for?
The book says... a wagon carrying supplies for a banquet to be held in Castle Culvershaw has gone missing. The head caterer is offering a grand reward for the return of the supplies.
Okay.
Okay, so it's
We
just
try
the
to gather-
supplies.
Can we gather the supplies?
Yes. And you have to give it to a man named Chef McRamsey.
At the castle we're going to, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, at the castle you're going to.
Sweet. Hey,
Um,
Mr. Strongman,
Yes?
can you gather this stuff and
Does the cart look
Yeah, of course.
rollable again? Does it look like it'll?
It looks like you'll need to tip it up onto its side and then strap a couple of horses to it, and then it'll be good to go.
It'll be good to go.
Horses.
Or one ferret.
We already have horses.
We have horses. Never mind. That's a
I like
bad
where your
idea.
head is
Please
there,
ignore
Geralt.
me. I'm still a little hungover from the night before.
Ferret would be cool.
Yeah.
It would be a lot cooler though, you have to admit.
Don't think that any of us are capable of taming this thing, but
Can we name it Ron Weasel?
Ron
You can.
Weasel
Ron
Lee.
Weasel.
That's a weird name, Raylan.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure the significance of it, but it sounds interesting.
Does it look like we can pull this cart? Hi, Mr. Weasel. 'Cause I want to try to just grab it and pull it from whatever.
We got asked
You
a
walk
question.
up to the weasel, and you sort of look at its face. You sort of grab it by its nose.
Not the weasel, the cart.
Oh, okay. Oh, my bad.
Wait, but
I thought he was walking up to the weasel and trying to pull it. I was like, okay, if you want to. All right, no, you grab hold of the cart, make a strength check.
Okay. Like Geralt is assisting me, I guess.
Wait, what? No, I'm pulling the cart and you're assisting me. Every time.
No, so Geralt and Khalil walk over to the cart. Geralt's getting ready to do all the heavy lifting, and Khalil sort of steps in front of him and says, "Give me a hand with this." And Geralt's like, "Excuse me?"
I rolled an 18.
I rolled a 19.
What's your total strength plus your strength modifier?
2 is my modifier. My total's 14.
Mine is... My modifier is 3, and my strength is 16.
Okay, so plus 3. So what would you roll plus 3?
19.
And yours is 19 as well.
18 was for Khalil.
18. All right. So you both basically pull, and the thing starts to slide. As it does so, the weasel leaps and bounds to attack you.
Oh,
And we're back in initiative.
we keep watching initiative.
So Geralt, we're starting with you. I assume you opened your eyes at some point.
Yeah. He opened his eyes a long time ago.
Okay.
Has my smoke bomb dissipated?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So Geralt turns around and just like socks this thing in the face as it's jumping at us.
Make your attack.
So any like discarded card parts.
9, 12, 15.
That will not hit. Oh, let me rephrase. It hits, but it doesn't get through its thick hide. So you sort of go floof.
Is it really soft?
So
It's
soft.
very soft. It's very soft. It's like puppy fur.
I don't know if I want to fight this thing anymore.
All right. Next up is Raylan.
Okay.
Damn
Is
stoner.
Geralt or Khalil right next to me.
You're not gonna detect
Mhm.
people.
They're both next to you.
I don't think it's so. I won't personally fight it because it's not my way. But I will help you, and I will touch your weapon of choice
That's right.
and give it a +1 to attack rolls and damage. And that's on top. Has it been a whole minute since we went into the cave?
Probably.
Probably around a minute.
Okay, never mind. Well, then you lost the other one, but I just, yeah. Now you get +1 to damage too.
Cool.
Does that stack with your stuff?
Yeah, probably if I
Make your
choose to
weapon
use
magic.
that. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Next up is the weasel. The weasel will attack Geralt for touching its floofy face. It tries to bite you.
Worth it.
It gets a 17 to hit.
That probably hits.
Against
your AC.
Your AC.
my AC.
Which I have
15.
your AC. Yeah.
So you got me.
All right.
Bite your hand.
Which is a total of 12 points of damage.
Jesus. What?
And it tries to grab you. It rolls a natural 1 to try and grab you. You get a free attack against it.
Oh, sweet. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna try and punch it. Ooh, yeah. I'm sure I hit it. 19 plus
that'll hit.
25.
Yep, that'll hit.
All right. So 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 points of damage.
8 points of damage. All right. Where did my pen go? Come back here. Nope, it's gone. It belongs to the floor now. Okay. 10 points of damage. Oh, sorry, 8 points of damage. All right. Next we go to Dobby.
Okay. Dobby is going to take one, not the supercharged alchemist fire, but another one that I bought while I was in Carrion Hill. And I'm going to load it into the compartment on my crossbow bolts that I have made in all of them, and level my little hand crossbow and shoot at it.
All right. Loading up his crossbow, he fills it with the volatile concoction and fires. Fires him inside.
Ooh, almost a hit. Well, I rolled a 19, so I'm guessing I hit. But
Well, don't guess. Give me numbers.
okay, 28.
Yes, that'll hit. As you hear an explosion.
Catches on fire.
Now it gets a reflex save to avoid that.
Yes.
Thank you, Dobby. Natural 20.
Nice. It doesn't catch on fire. But it does take 11 fire damage.
Cool. All right. As the explosion goes off, you smell burnt weasel hair. It's actually quite gross. And we go to Khalil.
Soft anymore.
Okay, I'm gonna get right up in its face and cast.
And then you grab his cheeks, like.
Exactly. So I'm gonna use something that I never use for some reason, and I'm going to cast burning hands. And
Okay, he gets a reflex save.
Yes.
$26.
Yeah.
He passes.
Okay, half damage then.
It's a 2d6 for this, I believe.
No.
What is it? 1d6?
Nope.
1d1.
1d1, 1d8.
Nope.
1d6.
What are you attacking with?
Burning hands.
Someone needs to know their spells. It is 1d4 per caster level to a maximum of 5d4.
Okay.
So 3.
3d4s?
2d4.
Correct.
Ooh.
Nice. Not bad.
You said what was the plus on that? The modifier? Was there?
No plus.
Okay, it was 10.
10. So half of that is 5. All right. So some
And,
severe damage.
At a -2 to my next attack roll, I can swing with my sword as a free action.
Okay.
Using my spell combat, I believe.
Whoa, shing shing. As you slash at him.
I missed.
No, you hit nothing. All right, Geralt, you're back up.
All right. Geralt's going to turn around and I'm gonna use Brawler's Flurry to try and hit him again.
Ooh, very nice. All right, 2 attacks, please.
Let's see here. Oh wait, 20? Not a natural 20, but just 20.
That'll hit.
And a natural 20.
Roll to confirm the critical hit.
17.
That'll confirm the critical hit.
Hell yeah.
The first
I
crit.
think that's the first time.
It
that
is.
happened.
First crit!
All right. Do you guys want to do a critical hit deck, just for fun?
Oh, what's that?
Sure.
Basically, you can choose to either do double damage, or I'll pull a card from another deck with some random cool stuff on it.
That sounds fun.
Ooh, I like that. That sounds cool.
All right. Okay, roll your damage, and I'll be back with a crit card.
Let's see here. So 4. 10. Oh.
In the meantime,
The monster vanishes.
Big Boss Nemesis is telling quite a story in chat.
Yeah, apparently he killed us all.
Killed us all. He was a pit fiend. That wasn't very good.
No.
no.
That was terrible.
Are you blaming me?
Oh wait, I need to roll my other damage. So 3. So
Let's do it again. Ready? 1, 2.
So, Geralt did 18 points of damage with the 2 hits.
Ooh. See?
All right, 18 points of damage on the first hit.
No, on both hits.
Oh, is
So
that
it
with
was-
double damage on your second?
It was 10 and 8.
Oh, okay, cool. So 32, and then we find out what the crit does. Now, so I've got 2 decks here, of course. The first is, of course, the Crit Fumble deck, which is a very cool and interesting deck here. And then we've got the Critical Hit deck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give this the old shufflerino. And Geralt, you can either opt to pick a number, just random number. I don't know how many cards are in this. There's 52 cards. I'm gonna say 1 to 52. But I'd appreciate it if you chose a number that was like small. And then I'll pick that card. Or you can opt to have an audience member pick the number for you.
Let's have audience.
Ooh, yeah. I'll let the audience members.
It's up to
Alright.
you guys. Pick a number.
Alright,
between
audience.
52.
Alright.
What am I gonna do?
Okay, because-
for my career?
because I'm shuffling it, let's say 1 to 20. And then I'll just draw from the top and then we'll see what we get. So let's see what Geralt actually does with this. Because some of these are really cool, some of these are really bad. Like, I think there's one that like literally teleports people to another dimension.
Ooh,
Hey.
Alright, do we have a number?
no.
Alright.
Hold on.
Well, in the meantime, Raylan, you'll be up next.
I am going to cast Bless, which will give everyone +1 to attack rolls and +1 to saves against fear.
Does that stack on my current thing?
You should.
Oh.
And that lasts a minute.
Nice,
Actually,
nice,
it's
nice.
a minute per level, so it lasts 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Same with your magic weapon.
Alright, so do we have a number?
10.
No.
10?
We have 10, yeah.
Yes.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Number 10, as courtesy of who's the lucky audience member?
Streamhouse ABQ.
What? What?
Streamhouse ABQ.
Screwhouse ABQ. Well, thank you, Screwhouse ABQ. You have allowed him to use an ability known as Mace to da Face. It's literally the pronunciation. He does normal damage, which is the damage he's already dealt. However, the target has had its face smashed. It is now dazed, which means it cannot take an action,
Cool.
and it is blinded for 1 round as it's starstruck from the hit.
Nice.
Jeez. You knocked it.
I punched him
Shit
right
out
in
of
the
it.
eyes. Did you guys see that? I just
Oh,
went
we saw it.
boom.
Yep.
Right in the
Basically,
eyes.
whaps. And you know those cartoons where you see their face sort of fold in? That's kind of what's happened.
Hell yeah.
All right. And then we go
It's just like a
to
tiny indent. Like it's
tiny little. Yeah. Dobby.
Dobby's going to chuck a bomb at it. Who's all in melee with it right now? Both them two?
Yeah.
I'll
Just-
exclude the spaces that they're in with my bomb.
Okay.
And just chuck a regular firebomb at this furry thing. 17 versus touch AC.
You blow up the ferret and he falls down dead. As it lies on the ground, smoldering in flames, you have a sense of victory and have now acquired the cart for your mission.
Sweet, let's take this cart back
Um,
to our
Can-
horses.
Can I say a quick prayer for the weasel creature?
You can.
I thought his
kind
name was
of-
wrong.
Blessing
Well,
from Sarah.
All right, well, say the prayer.
Dear Sarah and Ray, my faithful and lovely God, I hope that you can tell Rod Weasel that we meant him no harm other than death. Amen.
At the same time, while she's doing this, Geralt's going, "Ha! Punch you in your stupid face, you giant dumb weasel!"
Sorry,
like-
God, gotta go. Click.
I like how her God's faithful to her.
Yeah, my favorite.
Right? Okay. So then we go to. All right. So you've got all the supplies. They are mostly intact, so you'll receive your reward for it. Because
while they're getting the cart, can Dobby try to like harvest any kind of poison or alchemical reagents from the basilisk?
roll a survival check.
I rolled a 1.
Make a fort save.
Saw that coming. 21.
You're fine, as for some reason the basilisk's head still seems to be somewhat alive, stares at you in one final defiant F you, but you manage to shake off the paralysis.
Okay. That was unpleasant.
What are you doing, Dobby? Let's go.
I was
All right.
trying to get stuff.
So how are you going to get it out? You're going to
Did you
hook
do
up
anything?
your...
I don't know. Did I get anything? I'm guessing no.
No, you did not.
Raylan goes,
You got to stay alive.
I can't do that noise.
Let's go. The horses are really far away. We can't drag this thing. Like,
I'm pretty sure she brought hers. She doesn't ever leave it.
Prince, at this point, you hear like heavy hoof steps coming in your direction. It's a very angry-looking stallion.
Thunder's pretty pissed.
Come on, Thunder. Come on.
You realize that you haven't actually been riding Thunder, remembering he walked off like ages ago.
He's back!
Thunder! I've hardly noticed you've gone, honestly.
Instead of snorts, and you managed to hook up the wagon to Thunder, which is really good. And yep, he's pretty strong, so he manages to carry you guys the majority of the way. Well, the wagon anyway.
yeah.
All right. Your first night rolls in, and you set up camp, discussing the events gone past and what to possibly expect in at Castle Corvishaw.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can I attempt to make another alchemist fire with a craft
Oh,
alchemy?
you can do that, and you can take 10, so you don't need to roll, so you're good.
Okay.
But yes, discuss how you want to approach the castle. Because obviously guard work is guard work. Maybe Geralt, you've got some stuff to share.
Yeah.
I'll be back in just 2 seconds. I left some stuff out there, but yeah, talk about that.
Well, I mean, for the most part, it's just kind of standing around and drinking whenever you feel like it.
So we're just supposed to be.
It's
guarding.
pretty easy.
I'm not sure.
No, I've done it. I mean, you see how I punch things now. I mean,
So why do you want to go back? Isn't that exactly what you do now, anyways?
don't get me wrong. This adventuring lifestyle is pretty great, but doesn't pay as well as that.
It doesn't.
As the soldiering.
It doesn't.
I mean, sometimes. I don't
We've
know.
made-
We have
we've made
1,000
like
golden
5,000
cheese
gold.
alone.
We've made like 5,000 gold so far. You made more than that as
Is
a
it the
town?
spiders?
Hell yeah! What spiders? What? Is there spiders?
Is that the reason you don't want to adventure anymore?
I
I
mean,
realize
I've
There
had some
was
pretty
spiders with
traumatizing
tentacles.
experiences. I saw dead bodies, which I wasn't about that at all. Saw some
you acknowledge
giant
death, though.
spiders, which I was not scared of, but apparently now I am. So that kind of sucks.
Babies?
And tentacles. Don't forget tentacles.
Yeah. And tentacles. I forgot that. Yes, I now have a fear of
Can you
tentacles grabbing me.
update the party on
Oh, and you
exactly
also-
what the job is?
Oh God! I can't
what,
believe
sorry?
you're doing this.
Can you update the party, aka me, on exactly 100% what the job is via book?
With the job you're undergoing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have been asked to go to to Castle Corvishaw, a very well-known area. The reason it's well-known is because Corvishaw is a land whose ruler is technically absent a lot of the time, mostly because the ruler is in fact a vampire by the name of Count Tyriak. Now, Count Tyriak is a very bizarre and very secretive vampiric lord. who is accepted as being the one in charge of that particular area of the nation. Actually, Eddie, could we get a map of the of Ustalav, please? When you got a sec. So yes, we you kind of look at the area as more, it's kind of self-sufficient, self-sustaining, but people kind of really like the Eddie, the one at the bottom there, that really big one. No, go up a bit. Yeah, that one. Yeah, there you go. All right, yeah. So anyway, like I said, the castle itself has been considered to be abandoned by the Lord, except, obviously with so many people saying that there's obviously an event going on, it's kind of strange that this mysterious and otherwise absent benefactor is suddenly making an appearance. You imagine that the guards have something to do with, have something to do with the whole, is it the vampire count that's coming back? Is it something else that's going on? But whatever it is, you're probably going to be there to act as security during like a grand reopening of some kind.
Okay. Also, just to keep it honest, I believe 2 members of our party are still suffering from mummy rot.
Yes, that is the next portion of this, which is fort saves.
Oh god.
Nice.
Ooh. Hey, that's not too shabby. Geralt rolled a 20.
Khalil's gonna spend his hero power to reroll his dice.
Very well, you may use your hero point and reroll.
Didn't you do this like 6 times the other day?
Yeah. Oh no!
Khalil rolled the exact same number.
Oh no!
I'm glad it was worth it for you.
What is this, a fortitude?
It's a fortitude.
Just fortitude?
Just fortitude.
I think that means you
8.
use like 4.
No. 6.
6. Well, I wish to say that there was something else, but damn. All right. So do you like stats?
Yes.
You don't have
Well,
one.
lose 6 constitution
Oh my lord!
6.
and 5 charisma damage.
Oh my god.
Dobby's dying for
You
you.
don't look so good, Khalil.
I
right.
have 4 constitution and 6 charisma.
All right, Khalil at some point or another in the middle of the night coughs, and he can't stop coughing. And as he does, something large and organ-looking falls out of his mouth and into the fire.
Oh no!
All right.
What was that?
I think we might have underestimated how sick they are.
Yes, I mean, I feel fine. I don't understand. I mean, it feels
How do
like
I
a small,
feel?
it's like cold or something.
Oh, he's frozen.
Michael.
I thought he was just really into it.
Technical difficulties. Give us 1 second.
Whoops.
We'll continue on dialogue.
Please explain your symptoms. How do you feel?
What did you just cough up? What is that?
I don't know.
Do you feel your internal organs are still in place, intact?
You look like a skeleton.
You look like a pile of.
Hello.
Hey.
This is
Yeah,
a
all right.
different
Yeah,
angle.
sorry. Computer's crashed, but that's okay, because if it does crash, I will be back very quickly. As case in point, I'm always prepared for this sort of thing.
We thought you had just gotten
alright.
a lot better at pretending like you were frozen.
Yeah, no, I have. Okay, so moving right along. So this is a severe condition at this point. So what you would need to be aware of is to get rid of any of the damage that he's taken, you would need something like lesser restoration or restoration, and that's how you would fundamentally fix Khalil, as
I
it
have a
were.
scroll of lesser restoration.
Lesser restoration will heal some of that damage up if you wish to.
How do I feel though? Like, how does my body like? Am I just
It's like
fucking?
plus 6 cons.
I mean, you quite literally coughed up a lung.
I'll try to use the scroll.
All right.
I'll also cast lesser restoration because I think we can only do 1 stat per.
Okay. Lesser restoration will entail I think it's 1d4 based on one of the stats. So you pick a stat and then you join that one.
Cool. So I'm gonna try to heal his charisma.
I will heal your constitution.
And you get 4 back.
For charisma?
You get 1 back of constitution.
I wonder which is. Oh. All right. So how much is your what's your constitution at the moment?
5.
I think that means you lose
Give me
a
2
lot of
seconds,
hit points.
guys, while I very quickly return like this.
Yeah, sorry guys, we're going through technical.
Yeah, some technical stuff. Well,
Oh, hey, there we go.
ta-da! There we go.
Back.
Okay. So yeah, Master, Ask A Pathfinder, Master of Zoom. Okay. Yes. How much con? What are you negative con at the moment?
I'm
He has a
at
score of
5, so I'm down 5.
So you're down by 5, which means that you take a -2 to your max hit points per hit die. So at level 3, that's a -6.
You lose 6 max hit points.
Right? Now that's also a -2 to your fort saves or anything that involves your constitution.
But you got
okey-dokey.
almost all your charisma back.
I still got the jokes.
Waka
Very
waka.
true. Waka waka. All right, very cool. Okay, so then where are we at? Okay, cool.
You guys should have
That's-
told us you were that sick.
I mean, like I said, I feel like I have like a flu, maybe.
I don't know.
All right. At this point, you kind of realize that it might be prudent to try and find Khalil some help. You can roll me a knowledge local to try and see if you know of any place that might be able to offer.
None of us
Well,
still
Khalil,
have-
you are dead. You're going to die out here in the wilderness.
What about knowledge history?
No.
Would I at least know of any doctors in Seska since I lived there?
Well, yes, but okay. To look at the map on your screen, right? You are currently
Yes.
around on the far eastern side. You see that little tower
Uh-huh.
on
Yeah.
the far east?
Yeah.
You're okay now you see that little dude kind of walking the road southwest from that tower?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where you guys are.
Okay.
Now Seska, if you head right up north, it's like the northeast, in the middle of the there's like kind of a little middle I suppose like it looks like London Bridge, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you keep moving on from there, like a little bit further west, and Seska's in there somewhere.
Okay, so it's far away. Well, we could
Oh,
go
yeah.
to the castle. We did help with the baby problem.
Oh, this is true.
Maybe they have someone who can help you guys. Because that seems pretty bad.
Yeah, I definitely do not want that happening to me.
Yeah, I think we should get both of you cured.
I'm feeling okay.
Feel okay.
All right, so you decide to hurry the pace towards Corvishaw in order to help poor Khalil before it is too late. You decide to rest as best you can for the day.
On the cart so he doesn't have to walk.
Put Khalil in the cart so he doesn't have to walk. Your night again is very restful, except for Khalil, who again sees the same kind of nightmare he did the previous time. This time he.
Oh, sorry.
No, go.
I was just saying we're stopping for another night.
No, this is the same. This is the first night.
Same night. Okay.
Yeah. Now, Khalil, the only difference in your dream is that the woman who is still a shadow appears to be trying to mouth words to you, but you can't quite make out what they are.
What are you saying?
You sort of have a good grasp of her hand, which, feels soft and feminine.
I pull her in.
You wake up.
Because I'm fucked up right now. Physically, mentally.
What?
Welcome to the horror game. Okay, so as you continue down the road, you can see what appears to be a Varisian tent, covered in silks and basically Christmas lights, if there were Christmas lights back in this period of time. It's like little magical dancing lights. And it says, "Fortune teller, come and learn your fortune."
We'll approach it, I guess.
All right. Inside, there is a woman. She is quite a heavy-set woman with a big wart on her nose. She has kind of a starry designed bandana, lots of clothes, and this huge bosom. And she sits at a table with what appears to be lots of cards, and she says, "Oh, Madam Zerishta, she sees all, she knows all, she sees you. You are travelers from a far place, and you
How did she
are
know
heading,
that?
and you are going to Corvishaw."
This woman is clearly a witch.
Well, it says
Burn
fortune
her.
teller up at the top.
I guess then she's a fortune teller. She could be both, though.
Yes, Madame Zareshta is a fortune teller, a very good purveyor of all things to do with fate and destiny. And each of you have your own destiny, and for a small fee, I will share yours.
So about how many people that come through here are going to the same town we're going?
You're fairly sure 100%, because this is the only road to Corvishaw.
Can I detect magic to see if she's actually doing anything?
Okay, well, first of all, there is actually some magic in the area, but they're coming up as like illusion magic or kind of, enchantment magics, that kind of thing.
Geralt is all over it. He's just like, "Yes, please tell me your secrets, witch."
Oh, well, have a seat, my young friend, and Madame Zereshta will tell you your future.
Yes, please.
Khalil kind of cripples over in the corner.
Your friend seems unwell. $20.
How did she know that? What?
Your friend is dying. Okay.
No!
Okay.
I did not foresee that.
She didn't know that you're dying too.
All right.
Sure.
So, a second while I just pull up the this stufferini. Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you guys this because you guys are my players and this is an actual play thing. Would you actually like me to read your fortune? Like, I can legit go and grab my tarot deck and read a fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah?
it.
Okay, give me a sec. This is how planned we are. We're very organized.
So organized. Everyone, I'm very excited to have my fortune told. Because I would like to know the future.
That says that you're going to die.
What? My fortune says that?
Probably.
All right.
Well,
So-
she's the fortune teller. I'll let her
Who
do
reads
it.
his fortune?
You know what?
Get a drink out of my cup.
Okay, so here before me, you can see Zereshta pulls out a deck of cards. These cards are Varisian tarot cards called the Harrowing. And with that, they can answer questions and predict the future. So, Geralt, you are the first to sit before her, and she says, "Ask your question."
Well, will I ever punch something so hard that I kill two things at the same time? This is a very important question to me.
That's a good one.
Also, will I ever restore my honor of my original job?
Well, which
Not-
one
not
is
that
it?
I was
Is it
ever
the honor or the
dishonorable.
strength?
What's that?
Is it the honor or the strength thing?
I think the honor. I'm more curious about that.
Okay, honor. So that is this deck. She hands you out the cards and tells you to draw from them. And you draw 3 cards. These are the first 3 cards which represent your past. The second 3 cards represent your present. And the last 3 represent your future. Because you are asking about your future, he reveals these cards. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh.
Oh, well, that's not so bad. Okay, so. Your future shows you aligned to this card, known as the Big Sky. It shows an epic moment as slaves are freed from their nation. This is an aligned card which shows that you will find yourself removed from the shackles that you bind yourself by. As someone seeking honor, this may simply mean that you at some point or another will be freed of whatever burden you feel your honor may hold upon you. The second card, which is misaligned, shows the paladin, symbolizing the standing strong in the face of adversity, meaning that you will be challenged in the future and will likely crumble at the encounter.
No, I doubt it.
Well,
Unless it's a tentacle spider, then I'll probably be horrified, yes.
Oh, well, that's okay, because your final card is called the Beating.
No.
That sounds enjoyable.
Which signifies being attacked from all sides, unrelenting, and symbolizes the dissolution of one's self and mentality to a greater force. So she is basically certain that you are going to lose your honor, but you're going to be happier for it.
That's not the answer I was hoping for.
Well, that's what she tells you. Who else wishes to ask Madame Zereshta a question?
Sure, I'll go.
Okay, well, ask your question, sir.
Will I be able to return to the Ponsonby house?
So your question is about your home. Okay. Very well. Zareshta will answer. Your past, your present, and of course, your future. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay. Very well. Your first is the desert. Aligned, it means bleak and without survival or hope. Unless you find...
Sounds about right.
Unless you have aid. Find those who will assist you on your journey, and there may be hope for you still.
All right, I'll be sure to keep an eye out.
Savage. The survivor, representing a person who has gone through a massive ordeal, surrounded by dead comrades. I'm not making this up, eh?
Well, Dobby, it was really nice knowing you.
Yes, it can invoke terrible news or profound loss. And lastly, the sickness. Bye, Khalil. Representing plague, famine, pestilence, and disease, it is the corruption of the soul, and can either represent great health or a chance to stop a terrible disaster.
Okay.
So while it may not necessarily mean your dying friend next to you, it might also mean that with the help of your friends, you will be able to avert a terrible disaster and in turn earn the home you seek.
Cleo kind of pushes himself up and sits down in front of her once Darby gets up.
Hello. And what is your question? Wait, let me guess. You wish to know something about family?
Yeah.
How did she know?
Is my sister alive?
Wow, that's heavy. Well. Very well. I shall answer your question.
Hopefully you don't get the card of, like, pestilence and death.
There is your past, there is your present, and there is your future. If you wish to know if she is alive now, I shall look at your present.
She's alive. She's dead now, but she'll be alive in the future.
Right? Oh no, she was alive when I read the thing. I mean, not my fault you found it. All right. The unicorn. This card is generosity that is offered. When misaligned, it means betrayal, but this does not mean that. It means that someone will offer you something graciously that will guide you on your path to finding the truth about your sister. The next is the Courtesan. There is a mask, a political intrigue, something that is concealed by the machination of others that you will need to find. And last, the empty throne is a symbol of loss and the ghosts who will always be with us. I am sorry, but the cards say that your sister might be dead.
That's impossible.
Well, we all know it's possible.
Well,
She's not dead.
the cards may simply be saying that your sense of loss is stronger than its ability to find if she is alive or dead. Perhaps another question, something a little less broad.
Will I find her?
This I can answer. I hope I can answer. Son of a bitch. Okay. I see a card called the Theater, where actions are played out to a prophecy that is determined long ago. I see the marriage, the union of ideas, kingdoms, and other things, a symbol of unity.
You're going to marry your sister?
No. It means that they're going to unite. It means that, yes, you will be reunited someday with your sister. And the third card, that's not important. We don't really need to talk about that third card. No, it's fine. I mean, you'll be reunited with your sister.
You're gonna die.
Well, the last card is that of the tyrant. A symbol of those who rule. It seems that when you find her, she might not necessarily be her own person, as it were. There may be something larger in play.
Maybe.
Well, I wish you luck. And that'll be 500 gold.
Oh, what? I am glad that I didn't get mine read.
Wait, 500 gold for one?
Yeah, just for his. That was heavy. Raylan, did you want...
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yes.
Sarah and Ray is the only voice I listen to. Thank you, madam.
Oh, okay. If you're certain.
Oh, I'm certain.
Saturay's
Okay.
always been
know-
very faithful to her.
All right, let's just do it. Let's just.
Hey.
I got some gold burned in a hole in my pocket.
All
Let's do
right.
it.
Well, what is your question?
My question is, in my quest to defeat evil and spread love and good, will I be successful?
Will you be successful?
You can't draw the unicorn again.
The gods, ancient history, morality. Morality,
You
that's
had
a good one.
less broad question.
Could you put your question in the form of a statement? Okay. Yep, there we go. Shung, 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 shung. All right. Past, present, future. Okay. Let's see what these mean. First is the publication. A person who represents a fellowship and camaraderie. They represent a place of refuge for those in need. Someone who binds, who glues the whole comrades together and acts as the uniting force for good in the world.
Yeah, that's me. That's me to a T.
There's also the mute hag.
Oh.
Oh, look, you're there too.
Whose eye sees into the hearts of man, which include potentially secrets and other things that stumble through the path that they take. But misaligned, it indicates an unshakable loyalty and lucidity of speech, which is where you are. Unshakable loyalty. And lastly, the owl. Eternal wisdom shared even beyond the shackles of death to those who fight for a cause. It is the culling of the weak from the herd in order to graze into higher pastures. The needle that the owl holds is that which binds life itself together, but just as easily can pick life apart. And there you have it.
Alright,
500
we should
gold.
get-
Yes,
we
yes.
should get Khalil to a healer.
500 gold.
Yeah.
Oh, you need healing? I have healing.
What?
What?
Can you cure, like, diseases or curses? I'm not exactly sure what's going on.
Oh yes, of course I can do this thing.
How much does it cost?
At this point, I don't want to find out if that's going to happen to me, so I will pay you whatever you
They're
want.
very sick with something.
Well, let me have a look. She sort of grabs you by the cheeks, shakes them.
Pain.
You appear to have the mummy rot.
That sounds really bad.
Very, very bad.
What does that mean exactly?
It means that you're going to fall apart and eventually become a mummy.
Oh, is that all? Oh, okay.
Not just that. But I have a solution. You must travel into the woods and find a rare plant. It is called the bloodbjork. The bloodbjork plant can be ground up into a fine paste and then consumed on the tongue. Once this happens, you must repeat these words. She writes them down and hands them to you, which I will send you guys a text what those words are.
Okay.
Not really important right this second. And then you must plunge a knife into your heart.
What?
Yes,
Can I sense motive?
you can.
$17.
She seems to be telling the truth as far as you can tell.
Okay.
And that should work. Also have this, and she sort of passes you a scroll. It is a scroll of remove curse.
I feel like we could.
Wait.
Can we just use the scroll? Will that
No.
accomplish the same thing?
No, you must do the whole thing.
Thank you.
All right then.
Can I acknowledge Arcana?
Do we need
This.
2 of the scrolls? 1 for each of them?
Yeah, she hands you another scroll.
Okay, so let's go outside. We'll go find the.
Wait. Do you know where the flower is? Anywhere in
Yes, if you head south of here, you will find the glen of the bloodbjork.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. What's your name?
My name is Zeraksha.
Zeraksha. Okay.
Thank you, Zeraksha. You
Howlin'
definitely
Agency.
saved their life.
Our names.
Yes, we really appreciate the help.
Well, it is okay. It is always one for travelers to find a harbor in the Varisian tents. To turn away travelers is the height of rudeness in our culture. She bids you farewell and you leave her tent. You get aboard your horses and you begin to make your way. As you turn to sort of see her hut again, it seems to have mysteriously vanished.
Witch! I knew it!
Can I roll a spellcraft check to see if we could just use the scrolls and not do the rest of it?
You recall that you can use the scroll along with remove disease.
Oh, can you remove diseases?
I can't till next level.
Let's go find this plant.
Well, yeah, I guess we're going to look for a plant.
Okay.
All right. So you head south and make me a survival check as you try to look for the plant.
Dobby got a 19.
Raylan 11.
Geralt 8.
17 for Khalil.
Dobby.
Okay, Dobby and Khalil. The two of you managed to find what appears to be a glen completely covered with red flowers. These bright red plants almost make the ground look blood-soaked, but it's very pretty in its own very unique way. These are, of course, the bloodbjork, a very, very rare plant that you required.
Okay. Can we harvest some?
Yes, you begin to harvest it, and as you do so, everyone roll me a perception check.
Yeah. 10 for Geralt.
23, Raylan.
16 Khalil.
Dobby got a 6.
All right, 23. You notice rising up from the actual flower patch are 4 hulking figures. They appear to be young orcs.
Guys, orcs.
It's the orc thing.
Oh, hey, this just got a lot more interesting.
So
They literally have this red powder over their mouths and nose.
Creepy.
They appear to have blood scars, like someone had carved tattoos into their necks and face. And they sort of have their eyes rolled into the back of their head.
there's no way I have time to.
2 of them, you said? 2?
There are 4 of them.
4 of them. Okay, I was very wrong.
There's no way I have enough time to grind this powder and jam it into my heart, right?
I don't
No.
Is there enough time for Dobby to take his mutagen?
Probably. They haven't seemed to have noticed you yet. If you've ever watched 24 Days Later or 24 Years Later or any of that, they're kind of in that sort of standing still, not paying attention to you, and twitching kind of motion where they're like...
Right, I have a second to do something.
Pardon?
Do I have a second to do something?
Yeah, absolutely.
I cast Enlarge Person on Geralt.
Hey.
All right. As Geralt expands and Dobby chugs his potion, does Raylan? Do you do anything else?
I'll bless all of us. We all get up
All right.
to attack rolls.
Okay. The orc notices and hears you guys casting, and they all turn to face you. Roll initiative.
Ooh, 23 for Geralt.
Sweet.
Or wait, sorry, 20.
13, Raylan?
Dobby,
One
23.
Where did my thing go? I keep losing my things.
You're gonna go twice.
Yeah.
Not allowed to have nice things, apparently. 23, 13...
So mutagen makes my...
Fine. I didn't even want a pencil. Oh, no, there it is. Okay. So, 23 for Dobby.
Yes.
13
well, actually,
for...
even higher than that, because I forgot I
You're fine.
added to my dex. So 25.
Raylan,
13.
Geralt,
20.
20.
Yep.
Khalil,
20. 19.
Okay, so with that, the orcs get. Yeah, orcs go last. All right, but they have turned to attack you. We're starting, of course, with Dobby as the orcs turn to face you. They draw out what appear to be these rather vicious-looking swords. Some of them have what appear to be like axes. And one of them in particular appears to have, basically it's a lion's skull. The lower jaw is seated on the back of one hand and the teeth kind of overhanging. And then the other has the top jaw with the overhanging on the other side. And then you've got like the mane creating like this kind of cloth arm.
Okay, very cool.
Dobby spends the round being impressed.
Dobby is going to chuck a bomb and try to hit as many of them as they can. If he can't hit more than one, he's going to attack the fancy looking one directly.
Okay, make your attack.
With a +1.
Yes. That is a 28 to hit.
Fuck
Oh, that definitely hits.
Yeah. You hit the shit out of him.
He takes +4, 11 fire damage, and anything in adjacent squares takes 6 fire damage, or 8 fire damage unless they make a reflex save.
All right, they're going to try and make their reflex save. They do indeed make their reflex save, so they take 4 damage apiece. As the fire licks over their bodies, you notice that their thick orcish flesh seems to it doesn't resist the fire, it takes the fire, but they seem to show no signs of pain or agony. Like, you can see little pot marks of flames that seem to just sort of be in various locations and just burning and smoldering, and they're just still twitching and angry and raged. All right. Next up is Geralt.
Geralt is going to. How far are we from the orcs?
You're about 40, 50 foot away.
Okay. Geralt's going to look for something that he can potentially use as like a throwing weapon.
Looking around, you could easily find some of the flotsam in your backpack. Like, you've obviously got empty bottles and empty tankards and stuff like that. On the ground, you can obviously see several rocks. And I believe you still have a femur somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Whoops! How could I forget?
Oh, I forgot about old Femi.
What would you guys be without me?
Yeah, let me see. Oh yeah, there it is.
Yep.
Remember, you're also
All
a
right.
big person, a normal person.
Oh yeah, I'm like normal size now.
You're a normal sized person.
All right, so Geralt is going to take out one of the bottles, and he's gonna kind of break it so that it's already like sharpened and stuff like that, and he's just gonna chuck it at the necromancer guy.
All right. Yep. Make your attack.
Let's see here. 18.
It's at a -1, but plus her 1, so 0.
Even, yeah.
24. Yeah, so 24.
24 will hit as the bottle flies through the air and collides with this guy's face. Glass shards sticking out of various places.
How
But
much
again-
damage do I do?
That'd be the D6 plus your strength.
D6 plus strength.
Yeah.
Okay, so 7 damage.
7 damage. Okay. Okay. And when you do that, they begin chanting together in unison. Meat, 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 meat. And they seem to be stomping their feet. All right, Khalil.
Are they within, how close are they to each other?
Pretty close, like maybe 5-10 foot away from each other.
How many of them can hit with burning hands?
You can hit all of them if you get close enough. That would involve you moving 30 foot and then using burning hands. You would hit 3 of them, sorry.
All right, cool. And then am I close enough that somebody can attack?
You wouldn't be able to attack.
Okay, I'll
Because
just
again...
get that close and move and cast burning hands.
Yep, make your attack. Oh, sorry. I need to make a reflex save. Yeah. Does not make the saving throw, so roll your damage, which is 3d4.
6.
6. All right, the fire kicks up and engulfs 3 of the orcs. They sort of start burning, but again, they just seem to be completely out of it. Like there's something possessing them almost. All right, we then go to Raylan.
Raylan screams, "I hate orcs!" Very passionately.
And the orcs yell, "Aw."
She runs into the middle of them and does big channel of hurting evil.
Hurting evil. Oh, that's right. You have that now, don't you?
I do. I love it.
Variant channel. Very nice. All right. So she basically leaps forward and rushes into the center of them, and this wave of holy light washes over them. You see their skin sort of start blistering and burning. Roll your damage, please.
9.
Ooh.
Ooh, 9 points of damage. Many of them are very, very badly hurt. Okay. All right. We look to the orcs. The orcs turn their attention. One of them obviously to two of them to Khalil, and two of them to Raylan. That's one attack on Khalil that succeeds, and this is of course with one of the ones with the sword, and two complete misses from the one next to Raylan. All right, so the sword damage you take is 3 plus 7. You take 10 points of damage as the orc leans in and whap slices Khalil across the chest with this massive and sharp, jagged blade. Pain sears through your body as it hits because it's a particularly vicious-looking weapon. All right, next up is Dobby, I believe. No, yeah, Dobby.
All right. They're not standing next to me anymore, right?
They are not standing next to you anymore.
The two that are going after Keyleth, I'm gonna chuck a bomb at one of them and exclude the square that he's in.
Okay. Khalil, you mean?
Khalil, yeah. Sorry.
I don't know who Keyleth
I
is.
don't either.
I love how like Dobby's like I'm also gonna protect Jimmy, Jelif,
Yes.
Renault. No, I can't.
I don't know. They all look the same to me, so I don't know. The one that's green, I'll just protect him. Damage everyone else.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna take out one of my bombs and chuck it at him with my enhanced dexterity.
All right. So Dobby, with his mutagen, so you know, has like super long arms and like super long, like his spine elongates and sort of crouches over, almost like he's like one of those ducks that sort of, you know, drink water. And he sort of takes the bomb in his bony hand, and because of how long his arm is now, as he flings it, it's almost like a slingshot, and it flies through the air with a great speed.
They rolled the exact same as last time, 28.
That'll hit.
Nice.
So the one I hit takes 14 points of fire damage, and the other one needs to make a reflex save or take 8 fire damage.
Okay, they make their save. So they take 4 points of damage.
And that's half of my bomb's gone. Over half of my
All right. As we then move to Geralt.
Ooh. All right, Geralt's gonna run towards them.
Okay, because of your short legs, you take a while to sort of sprint,
Normal
but you
legs.
but at the
Oh,
end
I
of
have
your
normal legs now.
You got enlarged.
oh yes, that's right, you've got normal legs. All right, you can charge at one of them and make a single attack against him.
You get there faster than you normally do.
It's like he's not used to it, so he overshoots.
I'm just like, oh wait, no, there he was. All right, yeah. So then he's just going to punch whichever one Geralt's able to reach the fastest.
Okay.
All right, so 16, 19, 22.
22. Wham! You managed to hit one of the plebeians. Roll your damage.
And then,
Don't forget you use a bigger dice because you're larger.
right, yeah, it didn't matter. Let's see here. So actually, do I get a strength modifier?
Mm-hmm.
Plus 2 to my strength?
Yes.
Oh crap! I didn't add that in last time. All right, so it's gonna be 5, 8, 9 points of damage, and I rolled a 1.
But your AC goes down by 1.
Yep. And
Oh, okay. That's
Become less dexterous.
Okay. All right. They are looking savagely beaten.
hell yeah.
Not
All right.
savage enough.
We then go to Khalil.
Does the guy in front of me look messed up? The guy who just whacked me?
Oh, yeah, he looks super messed up.
I'm just gonna swing at his neck. Or just...
Alright.
Fuck him.
You're gonna try to fuck him.
What?
I didn't finish
If you
my-
must.
Wow. Does a... Does a 10 hit?
You get plus
You
one
s-
for bless.
You swing at the necromancer's neck. You can see he's kind of battered, bruised, but still kind of showing no pain. Your blade misses by like a millimeter as it soars past his neck.
Khalil's
Um,
dying.
Raylan,
Alright.
do you have another one of those channels in you?
Oh, I have a lot more.
Do you? Oh, gone.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And then as I do it, I'm gonna shout out, "For Khalil!"
All right. Roll your damage. Well, a natural 1 won't help.
10.
Hey.
3 of the 4 orcs collapse onto the ground, unable to move. Their eyes basically go from being rolled over. Red ink basically pours from their eyes as you hear them sigh their last breath. The only one remaining now is the necromancer that was fighting Khalil, and he did not like the fact that you killed all of the prodigies. Turns to go after Raylan. Okay, that's 2 hits. With 2 hits, you take 20 points of damage.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
And you are severely wounded and cornered by this creature. However, what you also notice is that the blood from Raylan goes into the lion, and some of the wounds begin to stitch up on the necromancer.
Oh.
He is a necromancer.
Well, I'm at 0.
Oh.
Oh, you're at 0.
Yeah, I'm 20 hit points.
You're still alive.
Yeah.
You've still got you're still up and alive.
You have
Okay,
20 hit points?
I'm
so weak.
I got two.
Dobby, you're up
Rolled
next.
Really well.
Dobby is going to quickly snap his head over, pull out his crossbow, knock one of the alchemist fires he has left in there, not the supercharged one yet, and just level it up and shoot it.
All right,
that
make your
other
attack.
thing right between the eyes. 19.
19 will not hit.
Ooh.
That's my
Okay.
turn.
But you can make me a perception check.
Dobby's perception is 22.
You see that there is literally like this blood veil type thing, like almost like a bloody mist, and it seems to throw off your shot ever so slightly.
He's got some kind of magic affecting him. Makes you miss.
Geralt, you're up.
Alright, Geralt is gonna run up to the necromancer and try and rip his lion thing off.
Okay, you're trying to disarm him. He gets an attack of opportunity as you rush up to him to grab hold of the lion. Oop, unless you have improved trip, which I assume you don't.
No.
Oh, sorry, improved disarm. All right, so that is a 17, and he is going to attempt to trip you.
Oh.
What is your CMD?
CMD is 17.
You get knocked onto the ground as you try to grab
wait.
hold of.
Oh wait, yeah. Never mind. Oh wait, no. I get +1 because of I took a -1 because of my size.
I don't mean to be that guy, but that was 17 on the dice.
Oh, all right.
He's
Well, never
gonna
mind.
get you.
Yeah, sorry, that's my bad. I didn't know I didn't actually finish it, but I was like, if I leave it there, then at least it seems close. But then I felt bad. Yeah, no, it's 17. All right. So, Khalil, you're up next as you watch the barbarian sort of knock over
How
Geralt.
would it take like a full turn to try to determine what magic he's using for the mist?
No, you can. I'll say you can make a spellcraft check to try and identify it immediately.
Okay. Cool. 23.
He has. He has protection from good active.
Oh.
Oh, how's that? Do I know the full?
Long story short, it's giving him a deflection bonus to his armor.
Okay.
Or at least that's what it appears to be. It's not exactly protection from good,
Yeah.
but you can tell that there is a component of that to it.
Okay, I'm going to cast fire through my sword and run up and try to jab him in the back.
All right, make your attack.
What is it? Plus 14?
14 misses, as again you seem to be blocked. All right, Raylan, it is your turn. You are staring down at this really rather bulky individual. You have 0 hit points left.
I will cast Cure Mod. Wait, he's not undead, is he?
You can't tell. Probably not.
Okay, then I'll.
Do you have knowledge religion?
Yeah.
Oh, then yeah, he's not undead.
Okay. Cool. So I'll just do another channel.
Okay, channeling against evil.
Indeed.
Bearing in mind that if you channel, you will fall unconscious. Being staggered basically means that you can take a standard or a move action, but if you take a standard action, you will knock yourself out.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
She's doing it.
All right. She's doing it. Okay. What's your damage?
Will revive me. 5.
5?
Not a great roll that time.
All right. Okay. 5 damage. Okay. He does some. You basically see some of his chest hair singe as he moves. All right. And then he takes his attack. What's your AC?
Me?
Yeah.
15.
Give me 1 sec, guys. Okay. So he landed 2 critical hits.
No, he did not.
Oh.
1 for each of the claws.
Like, you guys will help.
Okay.
All right. Could I get a number, please, from our audience? As I calculate the crit. Like, I'm trying to think of like. Okay, look, I'm a nice guy, right? I don't necessarily like killing people off, but I know that sometimes it happens, and double crits when you're on 0 hit points is definitely one of those ways. But the crit deck actually does have some normal damage plus X, so hopefully I'll get a good number. So a number between, let's say, 1 and 10 from someone in the audience. Anyone in the audience.
We'll go with, how about our editor decides?
Yeah, Eddie can decide if we don't get a number.
7.
7.
7?
7.
7.
It's a lucky number.
No, it's not. Yes, it is.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So with 7, 3, 6, 7. Okay, the first one is knock back. And the second ability, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can you make me a fort save, please, Raylan?
7.
All right, guys. Well, I've got to show you what the actual card was.
Oh god.
It's a big glare.
It's a bit glary. Hang on. Wait. Let me see if I
No.
can.
I saw
You know what?
one
I'm just
word.
gonna turn this off for a second. So I'll be kind of.
Nailed.
Decapitation.
Okay. Can you see that one?
Decapitation.
Jesus.
Double damage
So-
and death. Fort negates.
So as Raylan
Did she
As
just get
Raylan-
decapitated?
as Raylan stands before this huge and hulking creature, the orc with his lion gauntlet reaches forward and attacks, twisting his wrists as he does so, the impact launching her body 20 feet backwards. In horror, all three members notice that as the body is flying backwards, it's missing something very important. And in his hands, gripped by the top of her hair, is the severed head of Raylan. And that's where we'll leave it for tonight, guys. I feel like
You guys better kill him.
wow, yeah, it was pretty intense.
Oh my god.
Wow, okay. Well,
I think we can save her. I think it'll be okay.
I think it'll be okay. Just put some ointment on it. Okay, guys. Well,
Solve
that
it,
was
that's-
I have
Wow.
a healing potion.
Oh god.
Raylan. I'm gonna give you one last thing. There's a few moments of some lucidity as you feel yourself get lighter than air as you sort of move faster than you've ever moved before.
I don't like that.
And you have one thing left to say. You have one final thing you can say.
Feed princess.
Okay, as her final words ring in your head, the orc tosses it away like he's just caught a beach ball in a game he wasn't playing, so he's a jerk. You know, that guy at the beach. And all three of you can roll me a sanity check.
Oh god.
Oh, great.
6. Oh wait, 7. Sorry.
Oh, look who's gonna go insane.
Surprise!
18.
Now you're afraid of heads.
Oh god.
I rolled
All right.
Khalil rolled an 18. I don't know
Khalil
if
got
I
an
rolled-
18. Dobby?
What was it? Will save?
Yeah.
Oh,
Dobby got a 16.
Khalil got a 23 then.
Oh, Khalil got a 23? Okay, Khalil is okay-ish. Okay. Khalil, you take 2 points of sanity damage. Everyone else takes 4 points of sanity damage. Which puts Dobby on 4, because I think that's the first time you've taken some.
Yes.
Geralt, you're on 9. And Khalil, this is also the first time you've taken any, so that's 2 damage on you. Could I get another will save from Geralt before we throw some madness at him?
Oh.
Ooh, 20.
Nice.
20? All right, well, that's okay. I'm pretty sure you'll negate no matter what happens. Darby, your threshold is 4, so I'll need a will save from you as well. Khalil, your threshold is 5, so you're okay.
15.
15 is not enough. Could I get you to roll me a percentage check, please? Actually, no. Raylan, could you roll me a percentage check?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because given you're technically the cause of it, I feel like 89. Okay, roll me a. Sorry, that was you rolled me that second will save, didn't you, Dobby?
Yes.
Okay. You gain schizophrenia.
Shit.
That's exactly what he needs.
Now, just to kind of give you an idea of what schizophrenia will do, you take a -4. Oh, sorry.
Someone in the chat said, Geralt looks like a skinny version of the Asian guy from the Bond film Goldfish.
You're gonna kill someone by throwing your head.
I think his name was Oddjob, wasn't it?
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, that's right.
There was even the Komodo dragon, and we fought the basilisk. So that's
Yeah, that's true. That's
Oh
true.
my god.
It's totally the thing.
Anyway, I'm now schizophrenic.
All right, so schizophrenic. In 3 days' time, you will become a full-blown schizophrenic, and you will receive a -4 penalty on all wisdom and charisma-based checks.
Cool.
Cannot take a 10 or take a 20 on any check,
Okay.
and there is a chance that you will become confused because of hallucinations that you will come to see in stressful situations, including combat.
That's from
You will need to make
Austin
a will save. Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Tor has a very, very funny sense of humor, so well done. And you know what's really funny? Because that's exactly how Geralt fights. He throws shoes and...
Yeah, that's true. That's actually accurate.
Okay, and basically you will become confused for 1d6 rounds. Long story short, Dobby, you are haunted by visions of Raylan, and sometimes that'll just make you freeze up. Sometimes that'll make you just lash out, even at allies. We'll deal with that whole chestnut of things
It's like a permanent
next time as we continue. But ladies and gentlemen, this is of course the end of Raylan, and our party is not high enough, nor do they have the wealth enough to resurrect us. So as far as the time being, I believe this is where us fans can say farewell to our beloved Kendra for the time being. Thank you so much for joining us, Kendra.
I'm really glad that we got those nice coffins bought for us.
Oh yeah, hey, there we go.
Yeah.
That's very true. That's very true. So there'll be also
I
a
guess
trip
you won't
to
be
the Undertaker.
needing that extra foot though, because you don't have your head.
We'll give you
Because you got
Geralt's.
decapitated.
Oh no, he's quite a good mortician. He'll be able to.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
hey.
the orc just tossed it, so you guys can go, like, grab
Right,
it.
we can grab it.
Yeah.
They'll
Brush,
Yeah,
sew
he's
it
brush
on.
the
I don't think he's gonna just like
Flower
grab you,
grandma.
put you in a burlap sack, and just throw you off a cliff. You know what I mean? He's a professional. He's a professional. All right, guys. Well, thank you again for joining us. A big thank you to Kendra, of course, who has been an absolute pleasure and delight up until the point where she died, and now she's just a rotting, festering corpse in the wake of our adventure. Savage. Thanks, guys. Again, I have been Michael from Ask A Pathfinder. If you want to check me out, please visit me on Facebook at www.facebook.com/AskAPathfinder. I offer free coaching and free advice for the Pathfinder role-playing game, as well as just casual chats about games that people have had or are having, which you can chase me up on Discord at www.discord.me/AskAPathfinder. Basically, look up Ask A Pathfinder. You'll find me everywhere. And as usual, we have a whole bunch of very exciting stuff coming up for you from Color Circuit. Take it away, Zaki.
Who? Hey guys, how are you doing? My name's Zach. Tomorrow.
I was almost expecting an I'm an alcoholic.
Some days. Tomorrow is Wednesday, crazy, and it's going to be the first day we actually do short form improv with our regular Wednesday cast. We're trying it out, so it's going to be short form, then we're going to do our normal improv bagel, then a burnt bagel. And yeah, that's probably the most important thing. Also follow us on our Twitter and Instagram, guys. We have the links and the social media that drops every now and then in the Twitch chat. We do a lot more stuff with that nowadays than we've been before, so
It's always good to see you guys, coming out and supporting us because, we all love doing what we do. And it's you guys that make it all worthwhile. So definitely come out, check out Color Circuit on all their different social medias, check out Ask a Pathfinder equally and various other things. And of course, join us next week when we find out, of course, whether or not the orc will take any further victims to his rampage. And obviously, we'll probably be meeting our new player, whoever that might be. So until next time, guys, as always, keep your dice rolling and make sure your ideas stay mindworm free. Have a good